How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Phil Talk Sports Podcast. PWR Ascension is right around the corner, only 2 days away on June 28th at Obie's Bar and Lounge. And here to talk to me about that show and what else is going on in his wrestling career, making his return to the show, the entitled millennial, Forrest Nystrom. What's going on, man? How are you?
It's going good. I think you're in cahoots with RJ about the millennium thing. Like, I really think he's like paying people to mess up my name at this point. But it's great to be back. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Just did a part 2 over there. The Brew Crew guys, as you know, they are finally now a true fan of the entitled millennial and letting me do some guest spots. But you, my friend, are the true friend of the entitled millennial. Always have been.
You're doing a bit of a media tour. You're back on Brewed Opinions, the Brew Crew, as I like to call them. So it's good to have you back on this one. And they did you right this time. I heard they ordered catering and everything for you, so everything worked out.
They did. My order wasn't right, but it's all right. Sometimes things happen. So maybe next time I just order my own catering and just make them pay me back for it.
There you go. And guys, if I can give you a little bit of advice, you guys are doing great over there. When you have your guests virtually, you don't have to pay for catering. So that one's for free. So that works out.
Wait, hey, hang on. Is that why you do this virtually with me?
No, it's just because the way my office is set up now. I haven't had an in-person guest in a long time. Probably a movie review with like a buddy that lives up the street. But other than that, it's been a long time.
All right.
We'll have to change that, though. Maybe we'll do an on location after a show one of these days. That would be neat.
Maybe. Or we can do it live.
That would be pretty cool too. Maybe we do something like that. I always like the old, I don't know if a big inspiration for this show was when Colt Cabana used to do The Art of Wrestling, and he would be at shows and he would do maybe 5 to 7 minutes with each wrestler, and they would one guy would get up, another guy would sit down. I definitely want to do something like that at a PWR show in the future.
I love the Heart of Wrestling with Colt Cabana. It was great because, like you said, he would interview different guys, and it was he could ask, sometimes you got maybe 5 or 6 different answers, but sometimes you'd give him he'd throw a thought-provoking question, and then you only got to hear from one guy for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if Art of Wrestling never existed, this show never exists. That is 100%. I am one of the bigger Colt Cabana fans out there. I know he gets a lot of flack these days with crap with CM Punk and everything, but always a huge fan of that guy. And the best thing too, if a show came out with RVD on it or Taz or somebody, everybody wants to watch that one. But you might watch I remember back then Paul London was on, and indie wrestling wasn't as easy to find, so I didn't know a lot about Paul London, but I watched that show and I'm like, Paul London's freaking awesome, or at least he was back then. And so even if you didn't know a lot about the guy being interviewed, you wanted to watch the show. So I thought that was really cool back in the day.
Yeah, that's how I learned. I learned a lot of guys through that show. Like you said, I don't think it was indie wrestling wasn't as popular. It was just the internet wasn't as big then. I mean, it was big then, but it wasn't not like it was now, where you can just somebody you don't know, you can go and Google them, and the next thing you know, you're on YouTube watching 40. You've already watched 40 different matches that this guy's had, and you're like, oh, okay, great, now I'm a fan of this guy. But yeah, it really introduced you to a lot of people that you might not have heard of, or you only heard of for a couple of times, and made you want to look into them and try to find out where you can see them or go watch them.
Yeah, you knew the people, and there might be a match or two that was heavily shared, but it was hard to just find matches. Now you could pretty much find the full match catalog of anybody these days. So it's you have a pretty good with stuff like that.
Thanks, Al Gore, for doing that for us.
All right, so you've been pretty busy. We got PWR this weekend, but you just got back from a trip all the way up in Tennessee at Resolute Pro. You came back, or you would have came back with a championship. You left it there, but it wasn't the type of belt that most people want to win. It's actually called the Losers Championship. I have to bring this up. I'm really not trying to dog you.
I get it. I get it. The great investigating journalist you are, you have to ask. You know what I mean? I got to deal with the tough questions. I don't get the little softball, meatball questions. This isn't Fox News.
I'm a fan of softball, but I don't throw them here. I'll say that much. But so
yes,
yours, man. Resolute Pro, the Loser Championship. How was that weekend? Just give us the.
First day, great weekend in Tennessee. Those folks up there, they love themselves in wrestling, and Resolute Pro out of Crossville, Tennessee. Can't say enough about the fans, the boys in the back, and can't say enough about them. How much of an awesome show it was from the start to the end. Everything was great. Everything ran. And yeah, unfortunately, I came back the Losers Champion. I won that title from by losing to Caleb Courageous. It was down in, you guys, you might have heard of him, might have seen him when he was at PWR back in March. if I'm right. But yeah, it was a absolute barn burner. I brought everything I could, but he finished. He got me to that skills driver, and it was the end. And the 1, 2, 3, and I came home with it. Well, I didn't come home with it. I became the champion. I left it back in that dump of an armory that they ran that show out of.
A couple follow-up questions here. Now, let me just, for the people listening, the Losers Championship is exactly what it sounds like. Whoever has that belt, if you lose to them, you are now the Losers Champion. You will have that belt until you win a match in Resolute Pro. So that's kind of the situation there. You left the belt there. We saw the video online. Do you plan to go back and, I don't know if defend is the right word, but to properly no longer have that belt? Do you plan to return to Resolute Pro?
Yeah, you are correct. It's not just Resolutes. There's another promotion. SSW is the other one that they're in cahoots with it. Like, it's a combination title between the two. And yeah, you have to lose to win the championship. But August 1st in Crossville, Tennessee, the Entitled Millennial's coming back. I'm gonna go and try. I don't think defend is the right word there, but I'm gonna go and try to make sure I don't stay being the loser champion, because I'm not a loser, but I still have more championships than a couple other people around here.
So you mentioned you obtained, we won't say one, that you obtained that championship facing Caleb Courageous. Caleb had a great match here in PWR a few months ago with Jeff Yeager, who's part of Unnatural Causes, now one half of the PWR Tag Team Champion. So that's how we know him down here in Florida, but I know he's been around a few times. You guys have been up and down the road together. You guys are good friends. How was it to get in the ring with him one more time?
It was absolutely amazing. Like I said, main event anywhere in America. Barn burner. We tore it down, and, yeah, we traveled with each other a little bit and known each other for a long time, but we've never actually, it was funny, like, we've never faced each other in the ring. And he won't admit that he had a hand in that. He was just ducking me for 15 plus years, like, who knows? But I mean, maybe he just didn't have the time, or he knew it was going to be, wasn't sure how it would happen. But, we finally stepped in that ring. I made sure to give him the fight, make sure to give him the fight of my life. And, it wasn't enough. But I don't know who Resolute's going to give me to make sure that I can not come home with that championship. But August 1st, I'm not coming back. I am not going to still be the Losers Champion.
So for those that haven't seen it, the full match is on YouTube, and a highlight video of it is on Forrest's Facebook page. You are on record saying that's, if not the best, one of the best matches you've ever had. Now that you've had time to decompress, do you still feel that way?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't say thank you enough to Caleb Courageous for, simply inviting me up there. When their management, told me that, hey, you're going to face Caleb Courageous and you're going for the loser champion, I was kind of hesitant at first, but I said, you know what? I don't care. Like, I can't say enough about, like, for Caleb, it was, he brought everything. I brought everything. We made sure to leave it all in the ring. And again, I can't say thank you enough to that guy. Like, if you see the video, you've seen at the end how he talked about our history and how 20 years ago I wasn't good at wrestling and I wasn't good at a lot of things, but came back and proved him wrong. So you got to do something right in the ring if you get get him to say something nice about you at the end.
How long did it take the handprint to go away on your chest? How many days?
Monday. So like 3 to 4 days.
Wow. So you guys also, a couple other, PWR mainstays and former wrestlers, Chris Carnage, Tiberius, were also on this show. That was a 7-hour, 9-hour drive up to Tennessee. What kind of headspace do you have to be in a car for that? It's not like you got there and the show was the next day. You guys got there, maybe an hour before the show started? What kind of headspace do you have to be in to make that 7, 8, 9-hour car ride, throw your gear on, and get in the ring?
I mean, not for nothing, when you get to face Caleb, you get to be a little further up on the card. You're not the hot opener. So, I will say, though, a headspace, it's really hard because like you said, you're sitting in a car for like about 9.5 hours. We showed up like an hour before doors, if that, and so all I had time to do was like get in the locker room, put my gear on, and start, figuring out what I was going to do. So it's hard. Maybe that's why he was able to beat me. Maybe next time I take a flight up there so I don't have to wait 9.5 hours. I can wait an hour and a half and be well rested.
I was going to say, I'm not one to make excuses for you. You don't seem like that kind of guy, but if it's a more even playing field, if you get there the day before, if you guys face off, if he's the one that has to make the travel, do you think the outcome's a little different?
For sure. I mean, you've been sitting for 9.5 hours. You got to stretch. Normally, if your venue is only like an hour or two away, you can, get in a better headspace, spend the time relaxing, making sure you're in the right mind space. But I think if he had to drive 9.5 hours down to Florida, I think I could have beat it. But who knows? He has been doing this for a while, so he's seen it and done it all. So maybe not.
I mean, the guy, I've done some research. He's pretty courageous, so that's going to be tough to beat.
How much he paid for that plug?
I just got that. All right, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, how much he paid for that cheap plug? You have to try to plug him. But no, but fans, I mean, I honestly, PWR, from what the rumors I'm hearing around and swirl around is, Caleb, the PWR fans definitely want to see Caleb Courageous versus Forrest Nystrom Part 2. And it has to be at my home stadium this time. We'll do a 1-and-1. We'll do the one up there. Now we got to do Part 2 down here.
I mean, whether it's a rematch with Jaeger, I think PWR fans want to see Caleb back in a PWR ring sooner than later, no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't really care about that alien Jeff Jaeger. Nobody cares. Or his twin brother Jake.
So we already mentioned, what if he was back in PWR. Let's talk some PWR because we are about 48 hours away from Ascension, which is the next show we have at Obi's, and it will be highlighted by a couple of things. Unnatural Causes will be defending their newly won tag team championships. Before that, they will be presented with brand new PWR championship belts, courtesy of All Star Building, and we will also have, shout out to them. Proud sponsors of PWR. Really couldn't do it without them. Like people say,
really couldn't.
We literally could not do it without them.
No, we could literally not. I mean, we could do a little bit without them, but they are the main reason that we're able to put on the shows we are able to put on for these fans. Like we can't say thank you enough to Tom and all of those people at All Star Building with who are like, hey, here's a check. Just make do what you guys got to do. You guys bring us. Just make sure we make some money on this, and we've been doing it.
Yeah, between them and KOA Construction, those are the guys. They believed in PWR when it was still an idea, and they have helped see it through to this point as we come up on a year of PWR already, which is crazy to think about.
It's crazy, almost a year.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, that another great show that's coming up. You are going to be in the let me go through the lineup a little bit more. We have the tag team championships. We're going to have another not high flying, but a really impressive women's match coming up as JC Black returns to face Lizzie B. That's going to be exciting. We are going to crown a new PWR heavyweight champion that I like to use the joke would be a main event anywhere in America. That would be the main event on any show other than this one for PWR.
Yeah.
The reason it is not the main event is we are debuting a new championship, the High Voltage Championship, and that will be in the High Voltage Invitational, think Royal Rumble Battle Royal style event, and you have entered in that. So what? How did that all go for you? What made you decide to this is the avenue you want to take moving forward?
First of all, the thing is the fact that the Entitled Millennial doesn't have gold is just a travesty in this company. I may have been the number 2 overall signee, but at this point, I don't have a tag team partner, so I can't win the tag team gold. We saw what happened when I tried to go in the heavyweight tournament. Got beat up by Ramos, and now we got another championship, the High Voltage Championship. I think it's time for the Entitled Millennial to have gold around his waist, besides the Loser's Championship, But at that point, even if I have both, the High Voltage and the Loser's Championship, I'd be Forrest 2 belts, So that's why I decided to go in, make my announcement on the Bruce Crew,
So
hey,
what would be the, with it being a Battle Royal Rumble style event, what is the strategy there? It's a little different than a normal wrestling match. Are you going to try and go in there, eliminate as many people as you can? Are you going to lay low? Are you going to, what kind of thought process? Because there's a million ways you can go about this.
Yeah, there's I did mention on the, I did reveal a little too many secrets on there. We aren't drawing into, we aren't drawing, the one thing is we don't know our number until the day of show because of, it being Senior Justice's birthday. We get to pick it out of a giant sombrero. So that was his birthday gift from PWR. So my strategy really depends on where I go in. If I go in number 1, let's survive. That's the playing goal. I got to survive. Maybe try to outlap, maybe just out endure, someone, hopefully I can survive 2 minutes before whoever's beating me up or I'm beaten up gets distracted, somebody else comes in so they can handle it. Going in the middle, Gotta try to throw a couple of the guys who've been in there for a long time, get rid of them, and then kind of go from there. At the end, just throw a couple. If I'm in at the end and I'm the last competitor, just go in, throw the last few bozos over the top rope, take the title, run out of there like I stole something.
I'm glad you mentioned that this was somewhat a brainchild of Senior Justice, because I do want to mention, I don't want to mean to bring down the vibe of the podcast, but he's been under the weather a good amount lately, and we don't know for sure if he'll make it to Ascension. So I just want to take a minute to say, Senior Justice, we're thinking of you, and we hope if you don't make this show that you're at least, healing up. And he's just had a string of bad luck. Basically, since the last show, he's been just sick and illness and this, that, and the other. And it's been a rough go of our favorite lucha ref, and I just hope he bounces back here soon. But it's been a little rough for Senior Justice. I just wanted to shout him out real quick.
Yeah, shout out to Senior Justice. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. You're always one of my favorite refs, when you're in my matches. I love it when you're there. And in the back, you bring the positive vibes and everything. So we just send in all our healing vibes and positive thoughts towards you, buddy. We hope you feel better, and you come back stronger. Who knows? He might come back ripped, at this point.
You never know. Yeah. So you mentioned he's like a locker room vibes guy. With him not there, potentially, who do you got to lean on as like the locker room vibes guy in this show, do you think?
There's a lot of guys back there. There's some, there's a few guys, like, as much as I talk bad about the alien Jeff Yeager, him and his tag team partners, they're all about the positive vibes. Like, until the bell rings, like that can't be stated enough. Like they're all cool and they really mean they want to bring peace, but then they want to bring, when the bell rings, they want to give you a 2-piece.
Yeah.
I
say it all the time. Those guys come in peace until the bell rings, and then they're about everything but peace.
So they bring positive vibes. There's some new guys coming in. There's definitely some guys here. Who doesn't bring the vibes though? That Baron Von Blackheart guy. That guy just weirdo.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I've only ran into him a couple times back there, but not an easy guy to talk to. I can't tell if he's looking at me or through me half the time. He's always got this book. He's always got this book with him, and it's almost like LeBron James. He's always on the first page of it. Like, I don't know if he even has read the whole thing.
He's not reading it. He's in a cult. I try to explain that. Like, he was when I went to Sunshine Pro, him and Ethan Olson were like chit-chatting, and I'm like, Ethan, he's in a cult. Like, you're going to be in a cult. And he was like, nah, it's not a cult. And I'm like, it's a cult. But, hey. And then he's always, there's other guys in there, when the House of Spades guys are around, that's just a blast. The Hennessy starts flowing. I can't tell you enough. When the House of Spades guys come, the Hennessy starts flowing and bad decisions start happening. But I lost my car keys, my house key, and a game of spades, the House of Spades, which I should have done.
Right? Yeah. That you kind of set yourself up for failure on that one.
I did.
Another guy I feel whose vibes has changed lately is Kevin Klebold. Kind of came in a little rough around the edges. He seems to he did hack my last podcast, so I appreciate him not doing it this time. But Kevin, I'll just want to tell you, if you wanted to be on the show, all you had to do was ask. We'd love to have you. So who knows? Maybe I'll have him on here again, or have him on again. Because he's hacked in the first time. But
he's got some decent. Yeah, like you said, starting out, he had some weird he had some issues I think he needed to work out, like some past issues he needed to work out, and then now he's back and he's hacking things, and maybe that's where how he decided to release some of those weird vibes. Yeah, he might have been a weirdo, but good dude, solid dude. He liked to stand up for the little guy, and didn't like bullies and other things like that. So it was a good guy to have around. But he, rumor has it he's still not gonna let the little guy be pushed around.
Yeah, I mean, we chatted a bit at the last show, our love for video games. We talked about our love for the Sega Dreamcast. So anyone that's a Dreamcast guy, that you're going to be good in my book. So
yeah.
So you talked about some of the guys back there, guys and girls, really, that you do like in the locker room. Who out there are you still looking to get your hands on, whether it be in this invitational or elsewhere?
Everybody asked me this question, and there's only one answer. There's one answer only. It's Kyle Steele. He come out, I had to be thrown in that match with him because Chris Carnage didn't show up. Medical facility, yet I swear he was down at that Culver's down the street shoving cheeseburgers down his gullet. And then, Ironside came out. Now I think they're in cahoots together. I'm not really sure. They won't confirm or deny it, which I understand. And then what really set me, I was fine with it. I was like, okay, that's fine. But what really sent me over the edge is when he said when he was referred to by the PWR um, um, management as the standout star. He does what do you mean standout star? And you heard my comments on Brood Opinions. So the only thing he does is stand out there and watch Ironside wrestle. And now he's just been a proverbial thorn on my side. And he thinks he's better than me because he's got all this money, he can pay for all this great training. But kid, I've been doing this 20 years. You can pay. I see people who go to the best schools and then they fizzle out after a year because they don't realize that there's a more than just a physical toughness, there's a mental toughness. And I don't think you have it cut out to get, that mental toughness cut out yet, kid.
So I'll admit, I asked that question just to confirm that was your answer, because you will take shots at Kyle Steele any chance you get, whether it's warranted or not. So it got me curious, just the investigative reporter in me. He's never really said anything, at least not online. Maybe you guys have had conversations or confrontations in the back, but he's never really said anything in public about you. So I wanted to reach out and be like, hey, Forrest is always saying this stuff about you. How do you feel about him? And this is the first time this has ever happened. When I reach out to someone and I don't get a response from them, I get a response from their PR team. I don't know many wrestlers that have PR teams, but apparently Kyle Steele is one of them. So this came in earlier when I was trying to get, any sort of information on it. So it's a little long, so bear with me here, Forrest, but I'll read it out to you. And for the people watching, I'll put it on the screen because they just sent me this screenshot. So this is what we're going to do. Kyle Steele's PR team has heard the comments made by the entitled millennial. Didn't mention you by name, just entitled millennial. Here's the thing. We have stayed relatively quiet about the entitled millennial because personally, we believe he's beneath us. And Forrest, I'm going to pause right there and say everything being said here is Kyle Steele and not me. So I just want you to remember that as I go through this.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. I understand. Exactly. You're a great investigative journalist, so I understand. I'm not upset. I'm not. I knew you would ask, so I reached out to him.
All right. So sure, he's gone on podcasts and thrown his weight around in interviews. However, we all know that this is a business. You never start with the main event, so it's only appropriate that the entitled millennial goes on Brood Opinions first, because once Kyle Steele takes the stage, the entitled millennial will be washed up and ready for retirement. I would say that he is a has-been, but has to do something significant to be considered a vet, and he hasn't done it. Sure, he went to Tennessee and won a loser's championship belt, and I saw that belt, and it's literally a spinning piece of shit, which is the perfect prize for a shitty wrestler. So that, again, from Kyle Steele's PR team, a lot to unpack there. I don't know if you need a minute before you respond, but the floor is yours, sir.
So, what was that line you first said right when you took the pause? I need you to read that again. I need you to read that for me.
All right, let me pull that back up. They, I guess the PR team and Kyle together believe that you are beneath them.
Beneath them. Beneath them? Beneath them. See, here's the thing. Like, I'm not beneath him. He just hasn't realized that level I'm on. Like, if anybody's beneath anybody, it's him beneath me, and he'll definitely be beneath me when I pin him clean center in that ring. But see, here's the thing. He said he's been relatively quiet. Why? Because he's afraid of me. He doesn't want to say anything because he knows that and will just take anything he says and construe it and make it to my advantage. You want to fight me, fight me. You don't. Like, just be clean about it. Admit it. Like, really deep down, you have all the training in the world, but you don't have the thing I have, which is heart and grit. So, and then he said, I went to Tennessee and like won you don't start with you never start with the main event, correct?
Yep.
So he's calling me the hot opener. Does he know how many main events I've been in? Like, in my career? Tons. If my memory serves me correctly, I was in the main event for the PWR championship, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Was he in the has he been in any main events?
I mean, you're about to be in another main event here at Ascension here in a couple days too, so you can add that to it.
Oh, yeah. So that's down 2-1. 2 main events I've been in, and this is his first ever main event.
Actually, now that you mention that, I didn't notice this when they sent this over the first time. There is a second attachment here, and it is actually and it's already signed by DVD. That's interesting. He is officially entering himself into the High Voltage Invitational. So I guess he will have a main event under his belt after Saturday.
Of course he is. Of course he is. And of course DVD is making sure that that happens. See, that's the thing we need to talk about too. Him and DVD were in Seattle together. And you just don't run into somebody on the opposite end of the United States, correct? Like if you were in Orlando, okay. You were in like Miami. I can understand. You don't go to Seattle like together. But here's the thing. I looked up the 100 most relevant wrestlers in Florida. And you know who's not on that list?
Oh, this will be fun. Let me guess a few. All right, let's see. If they're on there, just give me the number. All right, we'll start there.
All right. All right.
Is Unnatural Causes on there anywhere? Let's start
they're number 69. I don't know how they I don't know how they got that, but I think that's Big Deal's gimmick, but you know, hey.
All right, let's throw a few more out there. Let's do is Gordy. Is Gordy on there?
Number 5, actually. Shout out to Gordy for being.
Shout out to Gordy.
I don't know. I don't know. This is from independentwrestling.com. Most wanted. So, look, like again, do you want to guess any more?
Let's do 2 more. Let's do. Is Flying Rob Kaiser on there?
Number 89.
Not bad. No, because he really just got back into it recently.
Yeah, he just got back in, so I don't understand. Which is weird. I would put him over Gordy, but hey, you know what? I don't know if this is fan voted or how this is done. I'm not really sure on there.
Yeah. But, all right, last one because it's relevant to PWR because he's making his return. Where is Alejandro Bravo on that list?
Number 1, but I can understand why. He probably threatened to super kick somebody in this list.
Yeah, if he's not number 1, they're getting their head kicked off. So.
But do you know who's not on this list?
Who?
The main person. Kyle Steele's not on this. I'm on this list. Kyle Steele's not.
What number?
So he wants to talk about. I'm number 10.
Wow.
Coming in.
Okay.
10 most relevant wrestler in Florida. Kyle Steele's not on that list, nor will he ever be anything relevant in the state of Florida. He needs to remember I've been cutting my teeth in this state for a long time. So you want to be in the Rumble? Yeah, come right at me. But understand the first person I'm making sure goes over that top road is you. You will be the first one over the top. It doesn't matter where I come in and the only thing that matters is where you come in. Because I want you to understand you're going to have a Santino Marella type run, 5 seconds in that ring.
Well, I've clearly hit a few buttons, so I want to get out of this before I piss off Forrest a little too much. So I do want to thank him for coming on the show. We just wanted to come in here, talk some wrestling a little bit, and plug PWR one more time. Because, again, the show is Saturday, June 28th, 6 o'clock start. We're moving it back a little.
Oh, yeah, we got to remember that. Yeah, we got to beat the heat this time. It's in Florida, so it's June. We all know how hot it is. You know, it's not. But no. So let me apologize before we go on, before we say our goodbyes and everything. I do apologize. You didn't hit a button. It's just that Kyle Steele fella did. So I don't blame you. I'm not going to be mad at you. But, you know, hey, June 28th, Ascension, OBs. We start at 6. Big shout out to all our sponsors. We've got Koa. We've got our main sponsor, All-Star Building Materials. Got a few others there. I just don't have a list in front of me. I do apologize. You know, shout out to OB too for letting us do this. Like, yeah, what a risk and a gamble he took, and we love him. I can't say enough nice things about OB himself. He's a great man. He said y'all can do this, but you got to sing the national anthem. I said there was never a doubt we wouldn't do it, brother.
Absolutely, yeah, and great vibes of a place, whether PWR is there that weekend or not. Great food, great atmosphere. Always great live music on the weekends as well. And it's just
even if we're not, like you said, even if PWR is not running the show, go check out OB's. Like great food, great music, great drinks specials. It's a cash only bar. Just a heads up.
Too. Yes, cash only.
Yes, and understand it is. I mean, some people get a little hesitant. They're like, well, what if I want to bring my kids? It is family friendly ish.
Yeah, it's a pool.
You know what I mean? Again, it is
there's games.
There's a pool hall. I mean, there's no smoking in there either, so you don't have to worry about if you take your kid inside. They're gonna have to worry about a bunch of people smoking. You know, but it's a great place. It's a great atmosphere. You know, if you're coming out to check us out, you know, make sure you tip well and buy me a drink.
So I do want to say I appreciate you not, jumping down my throat because the last time when I had Bravo on, that guy showed up at my house. He must have been up the street because the interview was only like 20 minutes. By the end of it, he was in my yard screaming. My wife had to come get me. So I appreciate you taking this a little better than Bravo.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to show up at somebody's house. It's Florida.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a steer clear of him on Saturday. I know that much. Like, I think he kind of respected. We've talked a little bit since he respected that I would go there and ask the tough questions. So maybe I'm out of the woods, but just in case, I'm gonna keep listening.
My twin brother thought he was out of the woods. You see what happens to him.
That's true.
My twin brother has taken he was supposed to work. He was supposed to take Senior Justice texted him and said, "Hey, can you, if I'm not able to make it, will you be able to make it? And he said, sure, like, I got you, brother. And then he's like, when they told him that Alejandro Brown was there, he said no.
Yeah, I mean,
But who knows? He knows he'll probably show up. He likes to. I think at this point he likes being super kicked by Bravo. It's a weird thing.
yeah, could be. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here. But again, June 28th, 48 hours from the time that you hear this recording, be out at Obies and see who the new high voltage champion is, among other action. So hope to see you out there. Have a good one, guys.